Good afternoon, oh Lisa.
Good afternoon.
Oh Lisa, oh the sofa.
Andrew.
Hello.
Hello.
3 more stories from season 15 to knock off. So, let's knock off The Sun Makers. And note it's 2 words, because lots of people always call it The Sun Makers.
Yes.
And it's not, it's The Sun
Makers.
Space Makers.
Yes.
What do you think of that now?
Yeah, it's a very good Robert Holmes story. Yes. Again, you've got a nice double act, because you've got the Gatherer Hayden.
The Collector.
And the Collector, and Gatherer Hayden, his assistant.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
I like the concept of the Sunmakers, but I would say I don't think they actually go far enough.
No.
Because there's that tale about the sort of Barclay card thing at the end of part 1, and Graham Williams objected and saying it looks like a giant Barclay card. And
No, it is a giant Barclay card.
Pennant Roberts was going, well, yes, that is sort of the idea. So it's a weird mix, because some of it is taken quite seriously. And some of the satire, I think, is actually a little too sophisticated for kids. So maybe you could actually have done a bit more comedy with it. And I mean, yes, I remember enjoying it as a kid. I remember I found sort of the Collector quite creepy, because he's on his little sort of
Little
toilet
throne thing, yeah.
I think it's a Mobo throne or something. Isn't it?
Yes.
And certainly the bit where he got all small and went in down the plug hole. I remember that. But yeah, coming back to it, it does. I think it suffers a bit from the design is a little on the cheap side, because this is now where the sort of inflation problems are starting to bite a bit.
Yes. It's very beige.
And it's one of those stories that I think it would have been lovely to actually sort of, you could make it really well today and sort of really go to town on the design aspect of it, because the Collector's got his little pinstripe suit and all that. But I mean, I never quite understand what the Gatherer's meant to be wearing, because it is like sort of a giant humbug, isn't it? It is striped.
Yeah.
And then you've got the sort of Aztec sun symbols as well, which are quite a weird choice. So certainly, I like the idea that it's on Pluto. What is it? Pluto's no place for a cat, dog, obviously. But yeah, sort of being into astronomy as a kid. Immediately they say Pluto, you know something's wrong, because, well, not only is Pluto so far away from the sun you couldn't live on it, but also its gravity is far too small as well. And that's never mentioned, which I think is quite nice, because if you were on Pluto it would like being on the moon, basically. You'd be bouncing all over the place. So they cover the sun's bit, not only in the titles, in the title, but they say about they've got sort of fusion satellites, but nobody ever picks up on the gravity thing, which is, and I don't think you need to, because in your head you can go, well, clearly they've got some sort of gravity generator or something going on. The little bit of filming that they do on the Bristol sort of factory is quite nice. The big sort of roof. Quite like that. And then you've got the bit where the Gatherer's thrown off it at the end. And that's quite nasty, actually.
It is. And this sort of, he sort of pulls lots of faces, doesn't he?
I mean, for years we all knew it was sort of Bob's sort of attack on the taxman, but Louise said it was also to do with the BBC as well. That Bob was maybe not so happy with the BBC, I don't know at that point. I don't quite know all the ins and outs of that, whether he'd been promised some series or something that had not happened, I don't really know. But he's sort of preparing to move on from Doctor Who, and he's been sounded out about Blake 7, hasn't he? And he said, no, I don't want to do Blake 7. Chris Boucher can do it, basically.
He's all right.
I love the fact that Chris Boucher was his sort of suggestion. Like, I've been working with him, and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, You've got the thing that Pennant Roberts always done about casting women in parts that were written for blokes. So you've got man. I noticed the chat room kept mishearing it as man.
Oh, right, okay.
By my ledger, man. Why is he calling her man? So that's nice. And of course, you've got Villa.
Villa, yes.
Villa Restor.
Yes. He's actually, Michael Keating is, I mean, he's playing it, it's a proto-Villa, but it's a Villa that's harder than Villa actually will be.
Yeah, but
because Villa is much more cowardly.
You could see how Villa could be played like that, though.
Yes.
Because the whole point about the whole Blake Seven crew is that they're all criminals.
Yes.
Aren't they? Mm-hmm. So, but you do see some moments from Villa. I mean, especially in sort of season 4, actually.
It gets a lot harder in season 4.
Blake Seven, because isn't it the one when they think is it Avon and Sue Lynn are dead or something? What's the episode? And suddenly Villa seems to be in charge. I can't remember. Is that Gold? I'm not sure.
Might be Gold, yeah.
But there are definitely moments when you see a harder Villa.
Yes, when you can step out of Avon's shadow and Blake's shadow.
But then it's interesting that Bob writes for sort of Villa and Avon as a bit of a double act as well.
Yes, he does.
So
yes.
But I mean the idea of a company.
All praise the company.
Yeah. Appeals to me, and the older you get, the more cynical you get about big business, I think. I'm
surprised some businesses don't get their workers to do that.
Yeah.
All praise the company.
Well, the whole thing about breathing tax and all of that.
Everything's taxed. Yeah. Everything's taxed.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, again, you're almost in sort of Yes Minister sort of territory where there's a few choice things about tax if you watch Yes Minister. So a very intelligent sort of script.
Yes. But perhaps not one for the kids.
But perhaps not one for the kids. You have to sort of some of it just does go over your head as a kid. Anyway, right. Next one. Underworld.
The quest is the quest.
Yes,
you didn't quite see that, but never mind. It's up there.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. So, on the cover, who have you got? You've got Alan Lake.
And Imogen Bickford Smith.
Yes, in her old phase, isn't it?
Before he puts her into the regenerator and she becomes young and pretty again.
But rather good cast, I think,
actually. It is a good cast.
Considering,
yes.
Yes. I mean, Alan Lake married to Diana Dawes. Yeah. It's a great shame Diana Dawes never got to do Doctor Who.
Yes,
because I think she would have been fab.
Yeah, she could have been a villain.
Yeah.
Like she does in The Two Ronnies, The Worm
in The Worm That Turned, yeah.
Because she's superb in that.
Yeah.
It allows her, even though it's a comedy, to actually do some proper acting.
Yeah.
And not just be Diana Dawes.
Yeah.
You know.
But, again, Bob and Dave sort of being a bit ambitious, which is fine, probably up to the point that they realised that all the money had disappeared.
Yeah. Well, we've run out of money. What are we going to do?
Fascinating to imagine how this story would have been done a year earlier.
Yeah.
Under Hinchcliffe, because I think, again, you've got some very solid ideas and some very interesting stuff going on.
Yeah.
But, and there is of course the but, it is of course hampered by the CSO. But the CSO is a consequence of we either don't make the story or we do it like this.
Yes.
And I think Graham Williams was very keen, because it was his first year, not to lose a story.
A story, yeah.
I think that's actually quite wise, considering the problems he gets later on.
Yes.
In season 17.
Yes, poor Graham Williams, he didn't have the best time of it at all.
I mean, Graham unfortunately inherits Doctor Who at a very difficult time. So, all praise to Graham Williams for actually saying, no, we will do this story, but we will do it
this way.
Yes. And
it's just unfortunate. It's a combination of things. It's the way they have to do the story. It's the fact they've got an inexperienced director in Norman Stewart.
Yeah.
This is
but I mean, that's the thing. Technically, he was very good on Image of the Fendal, because he was production manager or production assistant, I think, as it was credited then. So technically, he's actually very in control. I think
it's just the fact that everything took 3 times as long.
Yeah.
Because it has to be carefully lined up.
But this is... You have to start this sort of stuff somewhere.
Yeah.
And, had this been repeated year on year, this sort of do one story on... Because, Terror of the Autons does an awful lot of stuff on CSO, and Barry Letts is very keen on doing it. Because, again, if you look at his later classic series productions...
Alice in Wonderland.
It's full of it.
Yeah.
Pushing the system is always something I will give you credit for.
It's just...
Part 1, I think, is very good.
It's very good. It just gets a bit dull once you get into part 2 with all the troglodytes.
There is a lot of running around with sort of characters who don't make much impression, unfortunately. But again, the whole idea of sort of myths and legends, because this was released in the Myths and Legends box set, wasn't it? Is something again that it's playing to the adult audience that you'll recognise a name and you go, oh, hang on, I see what's going on here. So again, not talking down to the audience at all, treating them with some intelligence. I think.
And for every underwhelming performance, there's Alan Lake.
Yes.
Because he is.
Because what else?
Larger than life.
What else has Alan Lake sort of been in at this point?
I don't know what he's been in before. I know he goes on to be in Series 3 of Blake 7 and Juliet Bravo.
What episode's that? What's
he's
he in
He's one of the horsemen in. He was the first or second episode of Series 3.
Oh yes. Aftermath.
Yes.
Aftermath.
With
is
Hat.
it? Yeah.
With the
okay. Yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not in it long. It's him and what's his face from Visitation? Michael.
No.
The name will come back to me at some point, and I will say he was in EastEnders as well.
Oh right. Okay.
Yeah. Got a nose.
Got a nose.
Yeah.
Oh, what, the pterodactyl?
Yes.
Michael Melia.
Yes.
You see, it's all in our heads somewhere, isn't it?
Yes, it's
just has to dredge it out sometimes.
Yeah, I think, anyway.
But cannot fault them for having a go with Underworld, that's the thing, but arguable whether all of it comes off or not.
Yes.
Okay, and finally, and you're going to ask me what I'm doing here, The Invasion of Time. Ask me why there's no cover.
I know why there's no cover, because you lent it to somebody and didn't want to give away the idea that the Sontarans were in it.
Right, okay.
I remember.
Oh, you remember?
I remember.
Okay, let's do it
Until
properly.
you get inside, and they're all over the place.
Yeah. Well, my friend Helen, at work, borrowed the entirety of 20th century Doctor Who off of me. Well, everything that existed, anyway. And the trouble with the DVD release of The Invasion of Time is that it utterly spoils the end of Part 4 cliffhanger. It's a 6-part story, and the Sontarans are on the cover, and they don't appear till the end of Part 4. No. And I thought, no, I want Helen to be surprised. So I took off the cover, and I'm not quite sure what I've done with it. I think it's on the table underneath a load of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he's on the DVD.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. I can't cover everything. Sorry. But I remember The Invasion of Time. I remember enjoying it, and I remember being gobsmacked when the Sontarans turned up. Okay. So points to it for that again.
But this is another story that's been written in a hurry, isn't it?
It is an absolute last-minute series of scripts again.
Is it the Killer Cats of Gang Sen? Whatever it is, falls down.
What is it? So, scene 1, an amphitheatre full of thousands of cat people. Oh, I think. Can we do thousands of cat people? No. Can we do 3 cat people? No. Can we do an amphitheatre? No.
Can't do the story.
I've never actually seen a detailed storyline for this, and one must be knocking about somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, you could do it now. You could do it now quite easily because you just have CGI cat people.
Yeah. But I love the idea that Gallifrey is not just populated by human beings or humanoids rather. That you've actually got another race. So. Of cat people on Gallifrey, and that's a fantastic idea. That you could have like cat people Time Lords potentially, that The idea that a Time Lord might not necessarily just be humanoid.
That is a good idea, yeah.
And I don't know whether the story went down that line or not, but it's already a great idea now I've thought about it. But yeah, Tom being absolutely bonkers.
Yes.
But for a good reason,
yeah,
for
but
once.
You spend most of the first episode going, what is he doing? What is he doing?
As a viewer, I do find it very off-putting because you cannot identify with the Doctor at all.
No, you end up having to identify with Leela.
Yeah. But I love the idea that Leela trusts the Doctor.
Yes.
You know,
even though what he's doing seems completely
all the evidence points to him having gone bonkers or gone over to evil or something like that. But Leela's gut feeling is that the Doctor is right somehow, but she can't quite work out why.
Yeah.
And I love that idea. They've got that relationship. So that's great. The whole, it is in some ways a semi-sequel to Deadly Assassin.
Yeah.
But people complain about things like the squeaky pink cushion of Rassilon, the inflatable cushion. But isn't this yet another condemnation of the Time Lords of being obsessed with stuff that doesn't matter?
Yes.
That they seem to have gone all a bit consumerist. That you've got all these rituals that go on, but all this stuff gets brought on pink squeaky inflatable cushions. And it is very sort of 1978, 1979, because you've got the bit with the curly straw.
Yes.
Because Bruce is sitting in the sort of swimming pool.
Not in the swimming pool.
Well, sitting by the swimming pool, reading about the Titanic, and he's got this sort of drink of some sort.
Yeah.
And he's got one of those 1970s curly straws. And I had one of those. And I loved those straws.
Does it add extra fizz?
Not really, but it was just the way that especially if you had a coloured liquid, you'd suck it up and you'd see it go all the way up and all the way around the straw before it got to your gob. And I think it's fantastic that Bruce has found this curly straw.
He's like, oh, I like that. I'm going to use that. Yeah.
So it's this thing about the Time Lords being obsessed sort of with trivia. So yeah, that's great. Yeah, the Vardens are arguably
the most rubbish alien race ever.
But intentionally so.
Yeah.
Because the whole joke is that they're not the invasion force.
They're the softener upper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole sort of they're made out of tinfoil at the start, then they turn into rubbish generic humans who can't frankly act that well with silly helmets. Really does make that end of part 4 cliffhanger work. Now, Derek Deadman. Let's talk about Derek Deadman.
Yes. Ringo.
Ringo from
Never the Twain.
Never the Twain.
Yes.
I used to love him as that.
Yes, because he was so stupid, but loyal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the idea of giving Derek Deadman as the part of a Sontar, Kevin Lindsay's unfortunately died. So who's your next choice? Derek Deadman. I think that's an inspired piece of. Who can we go to?
And he doesn't do that badly with it, really.
Well, again, I wish I'd read an interview with him. I presume he's not around anymore.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
No.
But it would be fascinating to know what he made of that part. Because I love the fact he's a bit rubbish as Store. It's Store, isn't it?
Store, yeah.
Yeah, because when he comes in the TARDIS and he's got, well, first of all, he's got his mate who's the mates on Sarin, because it's one of the stuntmen, isn't it?
Yes, it's not Stuart Fell, is it?
It could be, yes, it's Stuart Fell. Yeah.
Does some of the stunts later on.
Because Stuart Fell gets that wonderful line, and I will do it now. He has fastened it with some kind of locking device from the other side, sir.
And you did that once, didn't you?
And that is such a wonderfully mad delivery of the line, because when we were at a convention, a friend of ours,
we
were there, and our friends were there, and we found out what room they were in.
Yes. And we went and knocked on the door.
We went and knocked on the door, and I delivered that line through the keyhole, didn't I? And what happened?
They didn't open the door.
They didn't open the door, so they'd be stuck in the middle of some hotel doing Sontaran impressions.
So they wouldn't open the door.
And hoping that normal people aren't going to come past.
No.
Yeah, I love that line.
It is
but it's also the bit, because he doesn't take his hat off until he gets in the TARDIS, does he?
No. So you're going, why have you made him up when he's not taking his hat off?
Yeah.
Well, it's pointless having a mask on and then having
But
a hat
then,
at the top.
at one point, he then puts his hat back on.
But it's wonky.
And he's got it wonky.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't got it lined up with his eyes.
Yeah.
And it could be that that's the only time they had to do that one take, and that'll have to do. Or it could be, isn't he a bit rubbish as a Sontaran? And I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt here that oh no, that he is actually rubbish. And so I mean, Gerald Blake directing. Gerald Blake not having directed Doctor Who since the Abominable Snowmen. But isn't there that story that Tom Baker was acting up a bit, and Gerald Blake sort of laid down the law by saying, "Well, I knew you when you were Patrick Troughton." You know?
Stop pissing around, basically.
The whole sort of chase through the TARDIS, again, people criticise it.
I quite like it though. It's I like the fact it sort of shows the TARDIS is infinite.
And I said to you when we were watching it that yes, the design is questionable, but the TARDIS interior represents the state of mind of its owner. So the Doctor has been acting really weird in this story, so the interior of the TARDIS should also be very weird.
Yeah.
And maybe in a few stories' time, the interior of the TARDIS totally changes. And I just like the idea that that's what the TARDIS looks like today, but it might not look like that in a couple of days' time. Yeah, that's just a great thought. Yeah, you've got all the hospital corridor stuff, and yes, it does look weird, but the whole point of the TARDIS is that there could be anything inside it. Yes. Doesn't Tom say he'd like to do he'd like the idea of a story where he opened a door and he found a load of sheep in a field. Yeah. That he'd rescued a load of sheep from something. Yeah. And the TARDIS had generated a field for them to live in.
Yeah,
or something
and
like
feeds
that.
them.
Yeah.
Like Queen Galea's cat.
Yeah. So, the idea that the TARDIS is utterly unknowable, and it depends what day you explore it as what it looks like, is great. So, all in all, again, a bit hit or miss, the Invasion of Time, but...
and we have to talk about Leela as well.
Oh, Leela leaving. Okay, well, you talk about Leela leaving then.
Because I know a lot of people find it disappointing, the way she leaves, that she should have been killed off or got a better ending. Yeah. But it was literally because right up to the last scene, Graham was going, "You can stay.
Please stay.
Please stay.
No, I'm not going to.
We can write it. We can change it. You can get in the TARDIS with the Doctor, and we can change it."
Yeah.
And that's literally why they just marry her off pair her off with Andred, because with his.
I mean, I've not listened to any of the sort of Big Finish stuff.
No.
With her in after this.
No. So.
How do you think it went?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm sure she was a tremendous help in the Time War.
Yeah.
Because, she's a huntress and she can fight.
But how do you think
the marriage with Andred?
Shacking up with Andred
I don't think that's actually ever explored.
No.
She's just living on Gallifrey.
Right.
I don't really know. I can't say because I haven't heard any of them.
Okay.
Because there's so many things out there that there's just not time to listen to them all.
A shout out to Chris Tranchell for coming from
Christchurch.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
He does get a bit ooh-ah occasionally, doesn't he?
He does.
Which I really like. Yeah. I do like the idea that every planet has a Dorset as well.
Yeah. And also, of course, you've got the what are they called? The
Outlers.
The Outlers.
Yeah.
And that's good as well, because it just proves that Gallifrey's not all just Time Lords.
It's not just Time Lords.
There are other people that live there as well, which makes some of the scenes in Day of the Doctor work.
Yeah.
With all the people, because all the people that they show running from the Daleks are not Time Lords.
Yeah.
They're just people that live
on
Gallifrey.
So yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for that. As I said, end of season 15, and I remember the trailer for season 16 because it says the Doctor begins a quest for the key to time. And I remember going, hang on, he had the key in the Invasion of Time, because he gets the little key.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
So I remember being utterly confused as to what was coming up.
Mm.
But we shall see about that next time.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.